Ben, you'll meet many people who want to know from logic and reason why you chose to follow Christ. Pascal's wager is a good argument. Let's explore it. Natural law is one of the most influential ideas in human history, yet most people have no idea how it shapes nearly every aspect of our lives, from human rights to environmental protection. Let me tell you why this ancient concept is more relevant than ever.
That's such a fascinating angle to explore, Pappy. What strikes me is how this idea has persisted across millennia.
Well, Ben, it all started with the ancient Greeks. Plato and Aristotle proposed something revolutionary, that there's a universal moral code woven into reality itself, independent of human opinion. And get this, they argued these truths could be discovered through pure reason.
You know what's mind bending about that? They were essentially saying that even if every society on Earth agreed something was right, it could still be fundamentally wrong according to these natural laws.
Exactly, and here's where it gets interesting. The Roman philosopher Cicero took these Greek ideas and transformed them into something practical. He argued that any human law contradicting natural law isn't truly a law, an idea that directly influenced modern concepts of civil rights and justice.
Hmm. So, how did this ancient philosophy make its way into modern thinking?
Well, that's where Thomas Aquinas comes in during the medieval period. He did something remarkable. He combined Aristotelian philosophy with Christian theology and made it accessible to everyone. He argued that you don't need special religious training to understand fundamental moral truths. Reason alone is enough.
That's fascinating how he democratized these complex ideas. Though I imagine there were some serious challenges to this theory over time.
Oh, absolutely. David Hume came along and dropped a philosophical bomb. He questioned whether we can derive moral laws just by observing nature. And here's the kicker, different cultures often have opposite ideas about what's natural or ethical.
Well, that seems to pose a serious challenge to the whole concept, doesn't it?
You'd think so, but here's what's amazing, natural law theory keeps reinventing itself. Look at the American Declaration of Independence with its self evident truths, or modern human rights declarations that claim certain rights are universal, regardless of local laws.
That's such an important point about how these ideas evolve, like how environmental activists use natural law arguments to protect ecosystems.
Exactly. And now we're seeing natural law theory being applied to cutting edge ethical debates. Think about AI ethics. If there are universal moral truths discoverable through reason, shouldn't they apply to any rational being, biological or artificial?
Oh, wow. I never considered how these ancient principles might apply to modern technology.
And it goes even further. When we talk about genetic engineering or space exploration, natural law theory raises fascinating questions like, should we modify the human genome just because we can? What does our natural state tell us about what we should or shouldn't do?
That highlights how relevant these ancient ideas still are to modern challenges.
Here's something else to consider. When we declare specific actions, crimes against humanity, we're making a natural law argument. We're saying some things are wrong regardless of what any particular legal system says.
That's such a crucial point about international law. It shows how these philosophical ideas continue to shape our modern world.
And think about climate change. If we accept that there are universal moral truths connected to our nature as human beings, doesn't that imply certain obligations toward the environment that sustains us?
That's a compelling way to frame environmental ethics. It suggests our obligations aren't just practical, but moral.
Looking ahead, I can't help but wonder how natural law theory will help us navigate future challenges. As technology advances and societies become more interconnected, the idea of universal moral principles becomes more relevant than ever.
Though discovering these principles isn't always straightforward or uncontroversial, is it?
No, Ben, but that's what makes it so fascinating. Natural law theory doesn't provide easy answers, but it gives us a framework for thinking about moral questions that is proven remarkably durable and adaptable over thousands of years.
That seems to be its lasting legacy, PAPPY, not as a complete moral system, but as a way of approaching ethical questions that continues to evolve.
And perhaps, Ben, that's why it remains so relevant today. In a world of rapid technological change and evolving social norms, the idea that there might be some enduring moral truths we can discover through reason is more appealing than ever.